scene of the battle. But it was one of your battles, and you were kind of talking to one of the refs, and you're like, "Yeah, man, I'm dying out here, dude. I'm 32 this year. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not easy."
Yeah, I'm an old man compared to these young bucks, I feel like, but young in the sense of the pro status, right? Like, we've only been pro for 4 or 5 years now, while as you look at the Ryan Greenspans or Tim Montressor, right? Tim Montressor has been playing pro for I don't even know how long. That's how long it's been. Right, a lot of the people that have been playing pro, the same guys have been playing pro for a really, really long time. So for us, we're like the new kids on the block, and we have this short little piece of history, which is obviously like the time where the internet now is everything. So we're way bigger than we should be because we're so new. Like, that's kind of a way that I think about it. But yeah, that was '98, I guess it was, when I started playing, and then 3-mans, throughout a number of years. We probably did local stuff for 5 years. And then our first actual national tournament was a World Cup at Disney Wide World Sports in '03. We played Division 3 was the lowest at the time. I think there was like 200 and something teams, and we got 6th. So it's like, all right, yeah, like
pretty good.
We're pretty good. We're pretty good. But so then it's funny, actually, go look at it. The teams that we lost to was like the Vicious Kids, apparently some of the Dynasty, like, I can't say feeder team, but like all these names that you would know now. I can't think of them right now, but like all of these names are the
Entourage?
top 5 teams. Yeah, it was some of the Entourage guys, but like they played with Dynasty, but weren't like the names on Dynasty, right? Like, so they had access to this skill that us kids from Texas were just like, we don't know what the hell you're talking about. So like there's these 5 teams were super good, and at the time we didn't know who they were. We just lost, so then we were upset and we went on with the day. So that was '03, and '04 was MPPL Huntington Beach Division 3, second national tournament ever. We won, which was like obviously the pinnacle of everything.
You won HB 04?
Yes. So like when we say this, people are like, "Man, that was the year that like Avalanche, or like this is the year the Dynasty, like all these kind of things." We're like, "Yeah, we were there doing stuff down there with the peasants, and yeah, no one knew us." So super funny like on that. But and this is something I tell a lot of people, and a lot of people that know. So our original team name was Organized Chaos. That's a 13-year-old kid making a team name, right? But we went by OC once we got a little bit older. We're like, OC sounds cooler. Let's just be Team OC. But we literally played events to win the event to be able to play the next event. So like this idea that like we got into it and we weren't struggling, we didn't play the event after Huntington Beach because we couldn't afford it. Like John and I's mom was the team mom. She was the one like, coordinating and making sure all these parents felt okay letting their kids fly to these countries or different states and have no idea what the hell's going on. So this was a normal thing for us, like struggling to pay all the bills and everything. So we won Huntington Beach, skipped the next event, went to Denver '04, won that event against LTZ, if you remember that team name by chance. Mike Paxton played with them like after the fact. And that was the same event that X Factor actually won like semi-pro. So this is like this funny kind of timing. Like X Factor was playing semi-pro at this time, and we were playing Division 3. Skipped the following event after that, and we got 3rd in San Diego in PPL as well. So our first year, first, 3rd, but we skipped 2 events. But the whole year was literally just this struggle of, how are we going to make this work? We're all super young, and everyone was just so determined. Like, I'm sure everyone's familiar with selling candy in high school for $1. Like we did that, but for paintball. Like we had, our little signs and things. We're like, well, hey, this is our paintball team. Like we're trying to get to, Denver. We're trying to get to San Diego. Buy some candy. Blah blah blah. And so like everyone kind of hustled in their own way to like trying to make this work. So that's one thing that the people that know us from way back when they like you guys like actually kind of like didn't really have ways of making it work. And we're like, well, we wanted to do it, so we figured it out. That's really kind of like the big thing there was just kind of forcing ourselves to do it once we started it. And then after that, it was this long struggle of D2 for probably 3 years or something like that, where We never won a Division II event. I think the best place we ever got was 3rd. And started going through teammates just like a Ferris wheel, literally just cycling through people. And the conversation that I have with a lot of people now is, paintball's super fun when you're winning, but when you're not winning, true characters come out. A lot of people's actual like real motivations come out, and it's a test of character. And that was the one big thing that we had a realization of that really kind of pushed us to the direction of actually trying to compete with this. Is we had some practices where it was just not fun. Back in the day, it was really lawless, and we'd have practices where you have blood, dripping out of your ear because you get bunkered by paint that doesn't break off your limbs from 15 feet away, right? Like completely different situation. And we're going, man, this is not what we signed up for. And then we play another game and we beat them. And you're like, all right, wait a second. That was pretty tight.
That's what we signed up for.
That's what we want. So the thing that I tell a lot of people is like, you have to decide if you're going to do it for fun or if you're going to do it as a competitive nature, like the competitive sense of it. A lot of people that play pro, they play because they want the competitive atmosphere. Yes, they have fun, right? But most of the time you're doing it because you want to be competitive and you want that competitive drive. Go ahead.
Dude, I tip my hat and respect to you because there's so many things that you just said that rang so many bells for me. I once put a subtitle in an article I wrote for Paint Magazine back in the day was an autococker to pay the rent, because we used to participate in these regional tournaments because there were autocockers for first place that you would then sell in the parking lot and for cut rate, and that would allow you to pay rent that specific month. I mean, it was a vagabond pirate existence for a long period of time. Anyone that makes it through that incredibly visceral and meat hook reality, I just give so much respect to. And also the fact that you said that, it gets to a point sometimes, and it reminds me of a quote that Nick Diaz from UFC one time, not Nate Diaz, the current one that fought McGregor, but Nick Diaz, his brother, who tested positive for weed, and it's a goddamn abomination that guy can't participate with that ridiculousness. Yeah. But he said something in one of his fights one time during an intro, and the Diaz brothers may be hilarious and they're great. I got family from Stockton, so I get how it is up there. But he said something one time that was just perfect. And it was just, again, not eloquent, but just so profound and perfect. He said, if you don't do this so much that you hate it, then there is no love in it. Because in order for you to find love, you need to get past that hate, because that's where that true pureness is. I'm paraphrasing, but that was essentially what he said. And I watched that promo and I was like, oh my God, dude, I can't believe Nick Diaz, out of everyone I've ever listened to do a promo, just said like some Shakespearean-esque, appreciation of anything, whatever. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's baseball or jujitsu or, whatever it is that you do, whatever it may be that your passion is, that you feel you could be good at. If you're not willing to put yourself into a mindset, into a physicality that's the roughest thing that you can find. Look, and I always say this too, and I will tell this to people. I'm like, hey man, you want to go play paintball for fun? There's so many ways to do that, and God bless you. Yeah. That's the majority of people that play this game. But if you want to be really good at this, you have to, like Nick Diaz said, you need to put yourself in a position where you're trying so hard and you're getting messed up so much that you hate it, because that's where you will find how much you really love it. And so the fact that you knowing, and I, like, as a Californian, it does hurt me to say this a bit, but Texas really truly has become the mecca of paintball. And because you guys have bred some really tough paintball players out there. And it reminds me of how we came up in California, because that's how it was there. So minus the scorching 113 degree heat, unless you're in Modesto in the summer, which can get nasty and disgusting. So anyway, I just think that, yes, so much of the stuff that you just said resonated, I think, with anyone that's ever been in that fight. If you're trying to get in that fight, this will be a good test for you, because when you're done with it, you will thank your enemies and you will thank those rough moments, because that's where you really truly find what you're made of. You said earlier that when things aren't going well, that's when you really find out what you and your teammates are made of. It's so easy to be the best guy in the world when everything's going great. If you're smashing people that aren't as good as you got a smile on your face, you're having a great time. Yeah, of course. Yeah. But as soon as you tear up and you really take a big bite in to see what you're made of, it becomes a very, very difficult and arduous road. You took that road, And a lot of guys have taken that road because, again, it's like that whole cliche of it takes 10 years to make an overnight success. Because like you said, with the way the internet is and how well AC Dallas has done the past couple of years. But I just think if you look at the composite and the members of that team, the organization of that franchise, it has taken a long time for you guys to become one of the best, most consistent teams in the world, into the finals past few years, 4 times. Yeah, you guys have yet to win one, but you're so close, and everyone that plays you knows how good you are. They know how good everyone on that team is, and they know what they're facing, and they respect you guys. So you have the respect of your peers. You are on the precipice of greatness. You guys already are amazing. So talk me. So you fought through those divisional events. You get into the situation where it's like, all right, because take me into the VCK years, because I feel like that was a big test of fire for you guys.
Yeah, so that was D2 was like a long time for OC, and part of that was the end of that the OC run was VCK basically coming up in Houston as well. And a few of the kids we had kind of, I say, like, mentored, kind of been around different instances. They're little teams, as I call it. And then eventually it came where John and I were like the old guys, and a lot of our guys were done playing. And the VCK guys had their own team. They were their own thing. And we were friends with a lot of them. So it was kind of like, well, if John and I want to keep playing, we didn't want to start another team. But these guys already have this pretty good thing going. They're a good group of friends, and that we were also friends with them. We weren't like, in the clique per se, but we were pretty close to it. And through, I think I played 2 events with them before John came, a part of it at all. And we just went and kind of just played. And I think we got like, 7th or like 13th or something like that at the 2 events that I played. And I was like, John, these kids are pretty good. Like, I think this would be something you'd like. Like, we could probably do this. And the VCK guys were super open to it as well, because John at the time was still a good player. I was a good player, and they were still all good kids. And it wasn't like, I say this jokingly, it wasn't like California where you got, 20 people trying to fill a 7-man team, right? Like Houston, you clawed for 10 dudes that could make it to an event. So we had a good crew of people that were all pretty good that could also do it. And we kind of like just started doing it. Really, like, there wasn't really much of a conversation, I guess. It just kind of happened where it's like, we are the people in Houston that are going to do this if we're going to do it. So then John came aboard, playing but kind of coaching at the same time, and we just started playing with the VCK guys as VCK. A few seasons to D2. Never won an event. Never did, I say, super awesome. A bunch of I'd say 4th to like 9th places. Very similar to kind of how the AC Dallas is. Super consistent. Everyone knew who we were, but we weren't just like crushing. Played a few seasons as D2, and then went to D1. I think we had, I should have looked this up before we got into this. I think we had 2 seasons as D1, 2 or 3 maybe, where we did okay. Really hit or miss events. We do real well and then do bad. Do real well, then did bad. I'll never forget, we had a Chicago event where we went 0-4. We lost all 4 matches in overtime by like 15 seconds. Oh. So like, we either couldn't score the points or like we didn't hold it off. So like, that was one of those things where like all of us were just kind of, sitting there like, this sucks. Like, doesn't matter what we're doing. We can't win. And I think it ended up being John's idea, where we ended up making 2 D1 teams. We had met a bunch of people through playing, kind of had some friends from different areas. And the joking way that we said it is we cut the fat. So we took the best VCK guys, had tryouts, and made a super good VCK team. And we had VCK 2, whatever you want to call it. And that was really when VCK took off. I think that first year we probably had a 3rd, 4th, kind of like 6th, 7th throughout the season, like super consistent, much better. And then the following year was the year I think like that we won Division 1 or semi-pro, or I guess it was Division 1 at the time. We won Division 1. We won 3 out of 5 events, and the other 2 events we got like 2nd and then 4th or something like that. It was just like we were crushing. That was when we got TJ Danner from Texas Storm. we actually did tryouts as a whole, and Clint came, and I think Clint ended up playing with Texas Storm instead of playing with us. So it's like these kind of funny names, and Meter played with TJ and Clint at one point on Texas Storm, right? So like now all of this kind of like these bodies kind of collide, and
Very
we all start merging into each other. Yeah. But a lot of people don't know this. In that road of D2 to D1 to winning VCK, I actually had 2 tryouts for for 2 different pro teams. I had a really good friend. Yeah, like a lot of people don't know this. I had a really good friend with Terry Fong, who worked for Bob Long at the time. Yeah.
Love
So Terry Fong literally
well.
like bought me a plane ticket and said, "Hey, come try out for the Assassins. Like, let's go. Let's do this." And for me, it was like, absolutely, like, hell yeah, let's go. I've never had this opportunity before. Let me go out and prove myself. And I felt I played super good. I got called a cheater by basically every single person that we were playing against. I don't know if the Assassins.
Oh my God,
not the Assassins.
Dude, really?
Not the Assassins. The other people that we're playing against. So Thomas Taylor was one of them. And if you know Thomas kind of cheats a little bit, here and there, a little bit. So Thomas it was super funny. I didn't know him. Yeah, I didn't know him like I know him now. So he had that name, and I was like, man, like I didn't cheat him. Like I don't know what he's talking about. Like I'm so confused.
Yeah.
But needless to say, I felt I played really good. Wasn't cheating, to get it out there. But I don't think the Assassins thought I wasn't cheating. So I actually think the Assassins thought I was cheating, and that's why I was doing well. So I didn't make the team. Tryout after that was probably a year or 2 later. I ended up trying out for the Ironman, and that all started because of Mike Paxton. Mike Paxton came for the MPPL Houston that got canceled because of the hurricane. If you remember that, he stayed with a good friend of ours with B, and we literally played Call of Duty for probably like 4 or 5 days straight because Houston was like this massively shut down city, but our buddy lived so close to like an old folks home that he never lost power throughout this whole thing. So we had like 9 people in this like 2-bedroom house. Like my mom is there, my brother, our buddy was Diego, one of like his family members, Mike, B, and probably like 2 other people in this tiny apartment. And we're just hanging out for like a week, basically. So somewhere in us playing Call of Duty, Mike's like, "Yo, you ever thought about trying to play pro?" And I was like, "Well, yeah." And he's like, "You should come try out." I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, yeah, I'll make this happen. I was like, all right. Went back to playing Call of Duty, right? That's the whole thing. So fly out to California, have this tryout. Oliver Lang was on Ironman at this time. So obviously that's like, this crazy thing because I've looked up to him and everyone knows the name. Anyone that's like in a paintball or new paintball 15 years ago, they're like, yeah, there's some guy like Ollie or Oliver Lang. You're like, yeah. He was like the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, know the name. So I had this tryout for Ironman, and same thing. Thought I played super good, and dinner. Basically the second weekend I was there for 2 weekends. The dinner with Billy Wing, basically before my flight, he's like, "Look, if you want to do like practice squad or something, we can try to work that out, but it's going to be tough to get you to fly out and so on and so forth." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay." Obviously that's going to be tough because I don't have bukus and bukus of money to make that happen. So it ended up not happening, right? And then VCK goes on, and that's when we have our Division 1 seasons, and then the whole VCK era starts of going into challengers. And very first event, we go to challengers, we get 3rd, which the way that challengers and champions work, you have to go top 2 to go up to the top 2, or to go up to the champions bracket and play against the good 10 pro teams. And at that point, we were kind of like, you know what? Let's just do this ourselves, right? Let's just make this happen, and let's just keep going, right? Keep going full bore. Continue the VCK times, and I think the modern record books, I guess you could say, start when we really start playing the champions and challengers, and you can kind of see that we started just doing better and better and better pretty much every year. And of course, we had events where we did not do good, right? We made the champions division 1 time and lost all 5 matches, and it was just ridiculous. But there's some other things that went on that event. We're not going to talk about that, but was not a good event for us. But then we went down to challengers, and I think we got top 4 again. So like we knew we were basically, of the 20 teams, we sat somewhere within, like the 10 to, or the 8 to 12 market, right? We were right in there.
I just want to add real quick. Yeah. So that's when you kind of got on my radar as, champs and challengers, which I still to this day am a huge fan of, just because it added so much drama to the sport. And anyone that thinks that a sport can exist without conflict or crisis is deluding themselves, because that is not how sports works. And so the more dramatic it is, the more interest goes to that sport. So I had a discussion with, not even that long ago, John Dresser from PB Nation, and actually even a random a guy that had got into it. We were at a lunch the other day, this maybe 2 months before the quarantine, and random anyway, but he was like, man, you know what my favorite seasons were? Champs and challengers. That was crazy. And I was like, yeah, it's because and the players hated it because, and the greatest paintball game that I've ever seen to this day, after watching paintball since 1993, was Dynasty versus Infamous at World Cup during that champs and challengers, playing for the Challengers Championship at World Cup. That was the most insane paintball game I've ever watched. It went all the way into 5 one-on-ones, overtime period, 5 one-on-ones. It was absolutely, I couldn't have written it better. I literally could not have sat down and scripted a paintball game to be more dramatic than that game. But that's when VCK kind of got on the radar a little bit here. And yeah, I was happy with how you guys showed up, man. You guys looked sharp. You looked hungry. You guys took your whippings like somebody that was willing to get better at something, that wanted to be there. And I just thought that was really cool. And then, let's take it to the transition to AC Dallas. So you guys went and had these performances, which were not terrible. And I remember that's when I was like, people were telling me, the Jackson brothers. And then I'd start talking to John, and because they were a supporter of PBA back in the day. Anyway, I started to become a fan because I saw what you guys had done. I saw where you were at, and I saw promise. And I was thinking, man, they have the right mentality. It seems like they have the right work ethic. And I think, maybe it's just a matter of time before these guys are really good. Because like we said, it does sometimes take 10 years to make an overnight success, and for you to emerge into the consciousness of, the mavens of the fans that are really kind of have their fingertips on the pulse of what's going on and who's going to be amazing. Because that's what I just think is super cool about this story, is that, you just brought us through this crazy, all these trials and travails of divisional paintball, and that's how, anytime we show up on a Sunday at the NXL and I see the divisional guys that take the field, it's such a hard road to get to that number 1 and 2 game to play in any of those divisions, because there's so many teams there. So it's just a really cool and admirable thing. And then, so how did you get the entree into the AC Dallas camp then?
Yeah. So the year, so when we won Division 1 as VCK, we had basically free entry fee through the league to play the next year. That year was actually the last year of VCK. So at the end of that year, we had a bunch of guys on the team that were kind of deciding what they wanted to do, I say life-wise. Myself, John, TJ, and Cam McCarty were kind of the ones that were still wanting to play. And then the Nico and Devin, of course. Nico and Devin as well on that. We all still wanted to play, but we were like, well, that's only like 5, right? Like we don't have a team with only 5 dudes, 5-6 dudes. TJ knew the AC Dallas guys, knew Greg, as most of us knew Greg as well, but TJ knew him a little bit better, and was in Dallas. So he knew that they had just earned their spot into the pro bracket, basically semi-pro bracket. And kind of was like, look, guys, I think I might do this. It's going to be easier for me drive-wise. Kind of torn, but if, depending on what happens with VCK, if we don't have a team, then, I gotta kind of do this. And everyone was kind of like, yeah, well, we get it. Like this is part of it. And throughout that, basically that off season, ultimately came to the decision, all right, well, VCK is not going to be anymore. Just kind of the way that it worked out. So TJ had this tryout for the AC Dallas guys, which was funny because this tryout was going to be in Houston because of weather conditions in Dallas. And they actually had, I think it was 187 actually came down to practice the AC guys. It was like an off-season kind of scheduled practice that, like, let's just kind of make it happen. But Greg also used it as a tryout. So TJ was going to be there. John and I did not know this. Devin and Nico were also going to be there. And because we were still cool with TJ kind of like let us know through kind of, I would almost say like an accidental conversation. And we kind of jokingly were like, we're still going to try to play. And I'm assuming that somehow he told Greg this. So then Greg shot John a text and said, look, if you guys are trying to play, like, you should just come. Here are the dates. So we said, okay, whatever, right? John and I talked about it a little bit. And we're like, it'll be the only team that we've never ran. We should do it, right? Like, it's a different thing. So we all show up. Basically, the entire VCK crew shows up at this tryout for AC Dallas. And by nature of things, we're all pretty good. The AC guys had, I'd say, some kind of mercenaries at the time. Brandon Mayo was one of them. I can't remember who the other guy was. They had some guys that have been playing for a long time that Greg kind of had them as the veterans. And when us kind of coming to the tryout, I think kind of let Greg know that, all right, well, I can get some more veterans kind of with this and then bring my young guys and kind of make it work. And eventually we made the team and started the AC Dallas segment of our careers, if you will. And I think we did that for, I'm trying to recall, I know, yeah, the Nico, basically the VCK crew was on AC, I think, for 2 full years. And through those 2 years, some of the AC guys kind of left, or the original AC Dallas guys kind of left. We kind of became more, impactful on the roster, and kind of, I wouldn't say took over, but in a sense, ultimately it kind of turned into this ACK was always the joke, right?
It makes sense though, because if you have guys like you and John, especially as vocal and as experienced and as good as you guys are, as hands-on as far as that is concerned, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. If I was Paulie, I'd be like, yeah, this is look, that's always one of the rubs. It's like, okay, how much do you want to give up here to get
right
to have a chance at greatness? Because yeah, sure, man. Do you want complete? It's like a company. I mean, do you want to, like, the micromanaging ridiculousness of having your hands in every single thing, or do you want to hire good people to make sure they can tend to your business and then take you to another level? Because if you want to go to another level, every single classic, I mean, anyone that studies business history, that's the most important thing. Get good people in your program, and then you can go to the next level. So I just think that that's kind of one of those situations where, yeah, it's going to be difficult sometimes, but with that difficulty comes the possibility to, shoot for the moon. And I think that that's kind of where you guys have been now for a little bit, because you have been shooting the moon. You have had incredibly successful performances. You have been, like I said, omnipresent there every single Sunday, with the chance to win tournaments 4 different times now, which, I mean, it's so hard to even get to. Look at the Ironman. The Ironman, it took them 10 years, 9.5 years to finally win another tournament in Vegas, which was outstanding. And I think should give hope to every single paintball player on planet Earth. But that being said, I just think that where AC Dallas is just perfect and slotted in for as long as you can keep that team together. I like the moves you made.
Yep.
I like the pickup of BJ. I like Ryan being there. I like the fact you don't have a ton. There's no dead weight at all. Like you said, there's no fat on that team at all, man. Like, literally everyone on that team can ball and everyone can contribute. And and you don't have to worry about getting everybody playing time, because there's not 10 dudes, and to have like 3 superstars sitting on the bench thinking like, oh man, I haven't really played more than a dozen points in the past 2 events. I'm looking for a new home. No, you guys are, I think you guys are locked in for future greatness here. But I can't keep you here all night. We got to transition a little bit here to Ultimate Shootout. I'm just saying, like, that, the AC Dallas program but you've become such a huge part of that. You won the Golden Barrel at the 4th event last year. You guys didn't even win the event. You still won the Golden Barrel. And that was impressive. That was the first time that had been done. You personally, at about 2 years now, people have been, when I sit around, we drink beers afterwards, I talk to people, fans, your competitors, and we all have conversations about stuff. And your name started to get thrown around, I'd say about 2 years ago, as, into that, who are our all-star mix, right? And then and you've proved that on the field. And so I just think that that's been impressive, because you just took us through this crazy journey, like I said, to even get the teams to that spot, to get your personal game to that spot. So now into the Ultimate Shootout, you're the favorite. So it's like, if you don't win this game against Meter, and I got to tip my hat to you, And I said this during the live show. Me and Mark even argued a little bit. I wouldn't say we argued, but it's just like we're talking about, like, it's like who's going to show up. Anyway, so it's a situation that I just think that you coming in to play this, I think was admirable, because when we're looking at the field, like, this is a lot of killers. Meter, Mark Johnson, Jesse Stevens, Clint Johnson, Ryan Hall, BJ Henningberg, Nate Roberts, Matt Jackson. That's the heavy hitter list of badass dudes from Texas. Any one of these guys could have won that event. And then you get matched up with Nate Roberts right away. Now, you and Nate Roberts' styles and stories are kind of fascinating, because Nate, you're like the best dude on AC Dallas right now on any given day, most of the days, and the numbers speak for themselves. You're an impact player. You shoot dudes on the break. You make moves as the 2. You close out games. You play aggressive on a team that gets knocked for being a little conservative. But I always would point to you and be like, go back and watch those games and watch Nate in the scramble. I'm sorry. Watch Matt in the scramble. If you don't watch Matt in the scramble, you're going to tell me that AC Dallas doesn't play aggressive in the scramble sometimes? Watch Matt play his game. Watch these dudes make these moves. And BJ he's a bowling ball. Ryan's super aggressive in the center. TJ Danner, very methodical, but in one-on-ones, he's been nasty, low body situations. Like, you guys get knocked a little bit for the aggression, but I have defended you guys a little bit because I watch more paintball than any human being on planet Earth. I've watched every single one of your points in the past 5 years or 6, or whatever, how long it's been, multiple times. And I just think that I just think you guys get a bad rap sometimes there, even though you guys do play a little defensive sometimes, but I get it. Anyway, so you match up with Nate. Nate, very cerebral. He's in med school, OG AC Dallas player. You're the best dude on AC Dallas right now. From a story perspective, I was like, oh, this is a doozy here for the quarterfinals. And it was a nasty, close game. Nate put up 17 points on you. But I just thought it was interesting, because if you watch your battle against Roberts, you watch your battle against a very aggressive Ryan Hall, dude, you played aggressive, man. You were going for buzzers. You were shooting dudes on the run. I mean, you were not just harnessing that Matt Jackson gunfighting off the break shot type stuff. I mean, you were really going for it, man. So let's go to the battle with Nate. Talk me through this battle with Nate a little bit here.
Yeah. So you going to what you're saying about me, I say showing up to play this with a laundry list of people, it being a new format, there's also, you have no idea what to expect, right? Like, there could be the people that stand and shoot, just crush this, or they could be the runners that win this. I think for a lot of us, it's kind of one of those things that we didn't really know what to expect. So I was kind of scared to say yes to playing it. But at the same time, I was like, you know what? Like, it's just paintball. And if I lose, I lose. If I win, cool. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really matter. But the match with Nathan was really interesting. I didn't really know what to expect. I actually made a joke at some point in the when we were playing each other about him playing with his left hand, because that was something we always used to joke about when he played on AC. He hated playing left-handed, right? So I called him out on it while we were playing. I was like, just keep playing right-handed. You do you. I'll crush you because you can't play left. But he actually he did play both, obviously, and it was kind of me going down the really big. I think it was like 11-2 was. For me,
yeah, it was 11, bro.
Damn.
And I just want, no. So you went down. I mean, interrupt, but I just got to set the stage here a little bit, bro. You seriously, it was not looking good for you from the beginning. I was like, whoa. And we were kind of talking about like, hey, I hope you guys have been out there running them streets in the COVID world, not just sitting your happy ass on the couch and watching Netflix because it was hot. This is going to be a long day. It's going to test your stamina. We didn't know if you had it in you, and then you show up against Nate here. And that was the real deal, because he's a baller, dude, like on AC Diesel now, but AC Dallas before. Like, if you know Texas Paintball, you know how good Nate Roberts is. So everyone the know gets that this was a much more even fight than people that have only been watching for maybe a season or two. They look on paper like, oh, Nate Roberts, Matt's gonna blast this dude. But then you go down a massive amount of points, but then you just staying in it, trading kills, getting buzzers, playing aggressive, and then you just all of a sudden then you take the lead.
Yeah, so the biggest thing with like all of us that did this, knowing each other, and a lot of the pro players knowing each other, everyone knows, no one's really a slouch, right? Yeah, the stat sheets may show someone, way up here and someone way down here. But that's kind of the beauty of paintball, is that there is definitely always going to be a little luck factor involved. And at any given day, someone can just crush somebody else. It doesn't really matter what your name is, right? The paintball gun and the paintballs don't care who the name is behind the person or behind the gun, right? So for this, it was kind of me figuring it out, I think, as I was going. This was the first match that I say, really mattered. So I didn't really have set in stone tactic to it. But just like anything, I feel like when you go down and if you want to win, you're going to try to figure out how to win and do everything you possibly can to get that win, right? So I looked at it as very simple as just 1 point at a time or one round at a time to get back in it, right? The bonus buzzers, obviously, in the point system make a huge difference on what you want to do tactically. Like if you're going to go constantly for the bonus buzzer and the other person picks up on that, they just prevent you from going there and they shoot you every time, right? Like there's all this to it. So, I'm like learning this whole system and this, like, changing up my mentality as I'm going through this, while obviously playing against Nathan and while he's doing the exact same thing. So,
well, it was interesting because I feel like, look at, we just went and watched the Pro Tour. Scotty Kemp lost to Kyle Spica because he kept, as soon as he'd move up, he'd jump the top, he popped the top and then go right-handed every single time. And Kyle picked up on that tell. And so I just, because there are no old men to go consult on this, on the Ultimate Shootout format. So with the buzzer, sure, there was a couple demo days that guys had gone out and played, which you didn't get a chance to go out to, right? I mean, you didn't get any demo days out there. So you had to come in pretty much flat with no knowledge whatsoever of exactly how the strategy and the tactics are going to work. So with no previous knowledge of how the hell tactically, strategically, you're going to have to go about playing a guy like Nate right out the gate. Yeah. So he goes down on you. Nate, and when I watched, so Nate and Clint played their asses off in the demo reel. And when I got to see that, I was like, wow, okay, well, Nate still looks super crisp. Clint's an athletic beast, so he's going to be a favorite potentially if he plays in one, but I mean, even though Clint lost to Jesse on the other side of the bracket from you. But that being said, it was I just thought it was such an amazing win. So here it was. So Nate's up 11-2, kill streak engaged. I mean, your back is against the wall right now, man. Like if he hits it one more kill, he's going to get those. If God forbid he comes out for you and gets a kill in the buzzer, I mean, that's going to be a huge 7-point spread for you. It's going to, I mean, that's it. Yeah. I wouldn't say it's over, but with you only having 2 points right out the gate, like this was the do or die moment for you. You stop his kill streak, you start your comeback. And this is when I was watching this, because I was like, oh, bro, this looks terrible for Matt. Like Matt is he's had a horrible start to this. And, I'm doing my calls like I see them, but in my head, having watched you play so much. And when we showed up to this one, because, we're all sitting around bullshitting earlier before who's going to win this or that. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I think Matt's the favorite here. With all the guys we got, I mean, he, Golden Barrel Award winner. Again, I just don't know how much paintball he's got in. He's got a tough road to the potential finals. But anyway, and then you just start mounting your comeback. So to take me into that moment during this comeback here.
Yeah, so for me, it was him having the kill streak. And, immediately there, that changed the tactics. Just don't die. You just got to shoot him and don't die, right? Because that's 4 points on him, or 4 points for him, just by him hitting you, right? So instantly on that 1 point there, the 11-3, I just had to get him off the kill streak. And then I think my thought process going into the next one was, all right, I got to get a buzzer or try to go for the kill streaks and just prevent him from getting buzzers if that's what he's going to go for. I kind of looked at it as more or less, what is he going to do and how can I prevent it? While, of course, still trying to impose my own game plan on the situation. But honestly, really, like the kind of way that I thought about it was, if I get a bonus buzzer and elimination, 4 points, I'll be 11-7. It's really not that big anymore if you look at it that way, right? So I'm really just kind of one round away from getting close, and then another round from basically taking the lead is kind of the way that I thought about it. It doesn't get scary in my mind until someone gets around to like the 15, 16 point mark, because they could actually end it in that individual round, right? Like once you get to 16 points, if you go for a bonus buzzer, you're at 19, right? So instantly you're super close, right? You've basically almost won at that point. So I looked at it a few different ways and just trying to make sure that, like on this one, I instantly went for a bonus buzzer and then we got the trade. So he goes up 1, but I go up 5. So instantly now 12-8, it's not even like the same match anymore just because of that one game. So that's kind of the way that I was looking at it, is very just point based, literally just kind of playing the spread, seeing what I can do without really, giving him the advantage of free reign to do whatever he wants, because I'm playing so defensive and so scared to not die.
Yeah, but that was what was cool about it, is that you did not fold. You were in a situation where, I mean, he was putting it on you, kind of just racking up kill after buzzer kill, and then just, you like you said, staying tenacious with the mindset and knowing, okay, bonus buzzer here, couple kills there, I'm right back in it. Sure enough, you're right back in it, and then you just start kind of taking control. Even though this is again just what I loved about your journey here into the finals, is that when we get into, and I can't keep you here all night because we are gonna have to get through this, but Ryan Hall, same situation there. It was just you had two amazing games where when you showed up and whoever had up in the booth at the time, I'm thinking, all right, well, we got our favorite here. And so if you're looking at this was an MMA tournament or a jiu-jitsu tournament, a golf tournament, whatever, like a tennis tournament, a man versus man event where it's literally there's no teammates to help you. You got a coach if you want it or if you can get it, but that is it. It is just you versus this person, and it is not cold out. It is it's going to be a pretty torturous road. So the fact that you did come back, Nate stayed with you though a little bit to the point where he ended up putting up 17 points. But it was just this back and forth battle. One of my favorite battles that we got to see in the entire tournament. I mean, you could kind of say that about all your matches in, through quarterfinals into the semifinals. I'm very much looking forward to watching and having everybody watch this Meter Niños final, because Meter had a different road than you had. He fought against Mark Johnson, his older brother. Again, different road on his trajectory in pro paintball, a different road through the ultimate shootout. I just thought it was great on the matchmaking for Paulie to match him up against Mark Johnson, who was one of the guys instrumental in bringing him back to Texas paintball. And then, then he's got to play Jesse, who had a pretty epic win over Clint, knocking Clint out in the first round. And Jesse was super hyped. And then he took Jesse down pretty solidly too, but it's all about kill streaks. He was just getting kill streaks. He was doing a really good job at that. So let's go real quick before I let you go here. And again, everyone, the final match between Meter Niños and Matt Jackson is going down tonight, 9:00 Eastern time. And then we will be sitting down with the winner to interview them and discuss their journey in the finals later on this week. But so Ryan Hall, he had a really hot and heavy victory against BJ. He got stabbed in the stomach by BJ during that engagement. He shook it off like a champion. No big deal for Ryan, former football player. But that was a relatively close match. And then and that was a pretty good one. BJ put up 12, Ryan 21. But then obviously Ryan. You guys are teammates. You're heading into that match. But again, we got to wrap it up a little bit. But talking about this match in the semifinals, you versus Ryan Hall, it was a close match, man. Again, blow for blow. You guys went kill for kill. But again, what I loved about watching your tactics and your strategy out here is that you were very mobile. You were aggressive. You were going for buzzers. You were going for bonus buzzers. You were shooting guys on the run. Sometimes that actually stopped you from hitting a buzzer occasionally. But it was so that was kind of funny too. But anyway, talk to me about this battle against Ryan Hall.
Yeah, so Ryan and I feel like pretty similar mindset of how we wanted to play it. Kind of like throw in the aggression to go get a buzzer and try to catch the other guy off guard. And what happened a lot was we kept trading with each other, because we both we'd put each other in and kind of lose each other in a sense, or you'd put the person in and instantly kind of run the other way to go for a buzzer. And we were both doing this like simultaneously to each other. And I think we had like 5 trades in a row at one point, where we're both running for a buzzer, but just keeping our guns up. We just shoot each other both on the run there. And I think at one point, I think you guys have it on camera, where we're both kind of like, shit, like come on, man. Like, can one of us not shoot each other? Because then we get the buzzer, then we get more points, and then we'll like get through this faster. So that was kind of like an interesting thing with Ryan. I think there's a little bit more thought that he was putting into it, and how we were trying to play against each other. But I think we played very similar, trying to catch the other guy off guard and take that extra little bit when you can, but don't force it at all. And I think that was one of the reasons that it was so close. And he hit me on some crazy shots. I think I actually give him props. At one point, he was basically running and shooting, and I literally had was out the side, went in, came up over top, and came up straight into a ball. And instantly, I just walk up to him. I was like, dude, that was a sick shot. Like, that was good. That was good. So there was a lot of that, I think, in his and I's match. And what it ended up doing is I think I got to where I felt like the sweet point is like the 15, 16 point mark. And I kind of made the decision, all right, I'm going to go force a buzzer. And if he has to stop me from getting the buzzer, otherwise he's going to lose. which is ultimately kind of what happened. I played super aggressive to go get a buzzer, got the buzzer, then got the kill, which ended up putting it over the 20 points.
Yeah, and Matt's in the orange here, by the way, Ryan in the blue. I thought this was an outstanding look for Ryan Hall. I really did. It was very impressive. Just because, look, Ryan Hall he's fought through his own adversity. He ran the wall Hall. He played up there. It was like a wall, and then we took that bunker set away from him. He was fighting for relevance on your team. Younger guy, came up young and got really good at paintball early. But anyway, and he's playing against you. He knows. So you're going against the best guy on your team. I just thought this was an outstanding showing for Ryan. You guys went blow for blow. You could see there on your screen 15-12. And it was just a situation where also I really truly feel that stamina started to play a point here, because you could see that. I don't want to knock Ryan. I felt like he still looked like pretty fresh. You looked like the fresher man out there. Whether or not you actually were fresher, that doesn't matter.
Right.
It's like we just watched one of the greatest UFC fights ever. If you guys hadn't seen that UFC fight between Dan the Hangman Hooker and Dustin Poirier the other night, that was literally talking with Cena. It's like one of the greatest UFC fights I've ever seen. They literally hit each other with baseball bats for 25 minutes in a row, and Poirier ended up taking the victory at the end. But this was such a good look for Ryan. But you just, at the end, like you said, you just kind of, even though you were tired and he was tired, you looked slightly fresher, whether or not you actually were fresher. And then you just kind of hit that afterburner at the end and pulled away.
Right. Yeah, and I think I call it paintball cardio. I am by no means a physical specimen of supreme athleticism. That is not me at all. But my paintball cardio, I think, is extremely good. I kind of look at it as controlling my adrenaline, controlling my breathing while I'm playing. So I think I can, deeper into these one-on-ones. I can't wait to watch other people do it and hear their feedback. Other pros. I really cannot wait to see what they have to say about it, because I do think it's one of the most physically challenging things that we've ever come up with, that's ever been done. Just because 5-on-5 paintball it's tiring to an extent, but at the same time, like with the way the split deck is, you don't get super, super tired until Sunday on finals, when there's no in-between match, and you're at the end of 3 days. But this was definitely the most tiring thing I've pretty much ever done in the last 3 to 5 years. And I think my experience as far as being in these situations, all right, well, I'm I got to finish this, but I am tired. Probably gave me a little bit of an advantage over Ryan, because he is a little bit younger in the sense of paintball experience.
Yeah, and I don't know if Ryan came in great shape. Again, he looked really good against BJ. Yeah. That was a high-powered match. He stayed with him the whole time, both hitting the afterburners. And I do agree with you about that paintball cardio. Anyone that's ever been in any gym, I don't care if it's a boxing gym. Like, I've been in boxing gyms, I've been in jiu-jitsu gyms. Obviously, played a lot of paintball. I've done a lot of long-distance running. Occasionally, you run into a dude that you look at and you think, like, there's no way this dude is going to be able to out cardio me. But you have these cardio king guys, and they have another gear. And I've talked to guys that own gyms about this, and just some people have that ability, call it paintball cardio, battle cardio, whatever you want to call it. But, it's just that ability to kind of get in your own mind. And like you said, just, because your mind tricks you. When you get tired and fixated, you feel like, okay, well, I'm drowning right now. I'm about to die. But that is a lie. Your brain is lying to you. Yep. You're not about to die. You have more in the tank. And the people that have that ability, either it's trained or it's innate, and it just is organic in their ability to summon that spirit in those moments. But that's what you had right here. And I just thought it was super cool. And that is totally a part of this format. We saw, it just, again, it's like in the one-on-ones format, Keith Brown got dragged into deep water. He was winded, and he's a beast 4 rounds in by Tyler. And then here again, Ryan in good shape. And yeah, dude, like Matt, you play every single point for AC Dallas. It wasn't a surprise to me. Yeah. Like, if I see you walking around there without your shirt on, like myself, we're not exactly ripped specimens of athletic, Adonis capabilities here. But that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't matter, bro. That's not how it's decided. It's decided in your mind in these crucial moments. So here, 17-14, you're on the precipice of victory here, 3 points away from sealing the deal. And but also, that being said, Ryan was right behind you. This was that moment, and then you go in there and you just stomp on that buzzer to seal the victory up. And then you guys, I think, trade, or you shot him. It didn't matter at that point. It definitely mattered because it's, you know, you got to get to 20 and the game doesn't end. The round does not end until you get that kill. But still, the two victories you had against Nate, very close, 23-17, and then moving in against Ryan. I can't wait for everyone to watch this final against Meter. Meter again had his own battles against some hardcore dudes. You know, he had to defeat his mentor in Mark Johnson, who took an early lead on him. And then he goes and battles Jesse, who was really hungry and training and sleeping on Meter's couch for this. So it was just an amazing first Ultimate Shootout, our history maker here. So yeah, everyone, again, this battle's about to go down in a few hours. I believe it is 7 o'clock on the East Coast. So you got about 2 hours before you get to see this last fight. But yeah, man, thank you, Matt, for sitting in with me. Any last words before we sign off?
No, hopefully everyone enjoys it. I've been trying to share this as much as I can, try to get as much feedback as possible, because that's really what we want. We want to see, you know, I'm going to speak for Cena on this. Let us know what you guys think. I think we can all speak of watching it in person is really cool, but watching it through the eyes of Go Sports is another thing entirely. But just let us know what you guys think of it. Anything, you know, let us know. That's the big thing I could say is, if there's something better we can do, if someone has ideas, like, let's just keep bouncing it off and keep making this thing grow and get some type of one-on-one thing going.
Dude, we're doing the best we can here, everybody. Thank you so much for giving us support. We really appreciate it. We need your support. This is my constant plea. Without your support, we can't do this. We're trying to provide elevated content. You know, we came out with the Ultimate Shootout because we can't just sit on our asses here and watch Netflix and let what we've built over years with competitive paintball just light on fire because we're living in the pandemic world. That's why I drove my happy ass out to Texas, and I was happy to do it.
Yeah.
And I got to get, and again, guys like Matt Jackson showing up to play this, you know, Golden Barrel Award winner, MVP caliber player. You know, you could have just been like, bro, you know, unless you want to pay me $1,000, I'm not going to show up. So the fact that you were able
got everything to lose, baby.
Yeah, I know you did. You had everything to lose. So anyway, my hat's off to you and Meter, because he's another all-star type guy. The series champion, helped X Factor win 2 events last year. So that's the battle here set in the final match. Matt Jackson, MVP, former Golden Barrel Top Gun Award winner, taking on a series champ, a guy who helped X Factor win 2 events last year and has been all around the world playing pro paintball. So guys, tune in here at 9 o'clock Eastern time. It's going down tonight on Go Sports. We will again have the winner being interviewed later on this week. We got the Tactics show coming at you on Tuesdays at Home with Ryan Greenspans as well, trying to come at you with as much paintball content as we possibly can. 2 is in the books. We already have Ultimate Shootout 2 in the books right now. We're looking forward to you guys watching that one as well too. We're going to be heading out to Texas to film 3 here shortly. We're trying to maintain social distancing, doing all we can to keep everybody safe. But again, anyway, Matt, thank you so much. And thank you everyone for tuning in. But yeah, Matt Jackson, bro, you definitely are one of the best that we got. And I'm happy that you're playing the game of pro paintball. And I think you got a massive future in front of you, because 32, bro, I'm 42. You got some time left, dude. You are totally going to be fine. And you looked outstanding, at least in those first 2 games. Anyway, all right, guys, make sure to tune into the finals tonight. And I'll see you guys next week.
It's fitting that we have 2 Texas paintball legends battling each other in the... Drop it.